Slang? Idioms? Phrasal verbs? What's the difference? I'm Teacher Mike. I help adults like you learn real English that they can use in their daily lives. Today we are talking about the difference between slang, idioms, and phrasal verbs, what they are, and when it's appropriate to use them. When we say that something is slang, this means that it is a very informal word or phrase that a specific group of people uses instead of the original word that everyone else uses. This means that it is not language that you will use in traditional business situations. It's not language that you will use in academic writing, and it's not language that you will use while talking to customers. It's language that you will mostly use while talking to friends, family, or people who are close to you or similar to you in some way. And this is because, like I said a moment ago, slang is specific to specific groups of people. When we use slang, we are expressing our identity as a member of a specific group. The slang that you use tells people about your lifestyle, how old you are, where you are from, etc. For example, some slang might only be used by 13 to 15-year-old girls who live in one part of California. If those girls use that slang with their parents will not understand it. Or if they drive just 10 minutes to another city, the 13 to 15-year-old girls in that city might also not understand it. Some slang might only be used by African American female TikTokers, or by 30-year-old IT professionals in Canada. So when you use slang with another person who is also a member of that same group, this shows them that you are similar to them in some way, and this can help you to build a stronger relationship with them. However, if you use slang with someone who is not a member of that same group, they are probably not going to understand you. So it's not rude to use slang, but it's not appropriate to use it at work or with people who you don't know because it's very informal and you don't know who is going to understand it. One good example of slang is the word "siced." Siced is a word that has several different meanings, and one of them is to be excited about something. For example, I'm siced to go to the party this evening. However, if I use this word with someone who is maybe 5 years older than me, 5 years younger than me, or not from the same area that I am from, they aren't going to understand it. So I can't use this word with 99.99% of English speakers. I can only use it with people who are the same age as me and grew up in the same place as me. But what's really cool about slang is that when you meet someone who uses the same slang as you, this tells you that you are probably very similar to them in some way. Now, idioms. An idiom is basically a group of words that doesn't mean what it sounds like it means. So when you hear a new idiom for the first time, you're probably not going to understand it. Two really simple examples are under the weather and a piece of cake. When someone tells you that they are under the weather, this is not really about the weather. What it means is that they are not feeling well. They are sick. Likewise, when someone says that something is a piece of cake, this isn't really about cake. When we say that something is a piece of cake, this just means that it is easy. Native English speakers use idioms all the time. And unlike slang, idioms are not usually specific to specific areas or specific groups of people. So in general, all native English speakers will understand most idioms. It doesn't matter where you are or who you are talking to. If the idiom is common, most native English speakers will understand it. I honestly don't use idioms very often, but this is mostly because I spend a lot of time speaking to English learners, so I always try to use language that is a bit easier to understand. However, if you want to understand native English speakers, you do need to learn the most common idioms. You don't need to use them if you don't want to, but you do need to learn them so that you understand them when you hear them. Also, because they are not super informal, and most people understand them, they are appropriate to use in most situations. And finally, we have phrasal verbs. A phrasal verb is a verb followed by a preposition or an adverb, which together create a new meaning. Some phrasal verbs have meanings which are very similar to the meaning of the verb by itself. For example, if someone asks you to speak up, that means that they want you to speak louder. But the reason that many people have difficulty understanding phrasal verbs is that many phrasal verbs have a meaning that is very different from the meaning of the verb when it is by itself. For example, carry on means continue. It's not about carrying anything, and it's not about anything being on anything. The meaning of the phrasal verb is very different from the meaning of the words that are in the phrasal verb. And just like idioms, phrasal verbs should be understood by all native speakers and are appropriate to use in 99% of situations. The only real time in which you shouldn't use phrasal verbs is if you are doing some type of formal or academic writing. And even then, you might still use them. So again, idioms and phrasal verbs are appropriate to use in 99% of conversations. But slang only works when you are a member of a specific group speaking to other members of that group. If you'd like to learn more about how to learn slang and why I don't usually teach it, make sure to watch this video right here. That's all for today. Thank you for watching.